Hi, welcome to the channel today. And for y'all that are new to the channel, I'm in Southeast Texas, and then we grow a lot of stuff in containers, a lot of fruits and vegetables in containers. I also have raised beds, and I have a big in-ground garden in the back, about 3,500 square feet, and I also have an orchard. Today we're just going to be talking about the things I've grown in containers, and that's going to be up here in the front yard. And I'm going to try to look at just about everything today so y'all get a good general look at it. Today is March 7th, so it's right at the time we start planting everything. I've already planted a bunch of tomatoes out in my main garden and hopefully finish up next couple of days. The first thing we're going to be looking at though is my raspberries. You know, raspberries tend not to grow in this area. This one here is Glencoe. I bought it just the other day. It's a thornless raspberry. It's looking good. I do need to set my trellis back up because the dog's knocked down. This one here is Crimson Night, and here's the part there, but it is throwing up squirrel. It is throwing up some canes. I'll think of the word here in a minute. So it's doing good. These here are some beets that we've grown also. Of course, since I'm doing a video, my dog has to start barking. This here's Mysore, and it's got a lot of thorns on it. I'm going to have to also trellis it up or stake it up or something. It is both winter sensitive and heat sensitive, so I've got it underneath this tree to keep the sun off of it. Over here we've got a peach tree that we got some cold weather. I ran out of room in the garage, and I think it's lost all of its fruit. It was either, I think, snow, tropic snow. And I had intended, when these freezes happen like that, I could bring the tree in. And the problem is I ran out of room, so I didn't have any room to put it in there. So this year, it's not going to make any fruit, because once a peach tree blooms out and it made all its blooms, it won't rebloom. So this year we just try to keep the thing alive, and we'll try again next year. This here is an ornamental pineapple, and it's got really sharp stickers on it. It'll make a small pineapple about yay big, and it's not edible. I mean, it's edible, but you can't get anything off of it. It doesn't taste very good. This here is a raised bed my dog decided to dig up twice, and about to throw the rears back in the backyard and make sure they can't jump out of it. I don't know why they started digging in it, but they started digging it, so I threw that in there to keep them from doing it for right now. But that don't help. Now I can't use it either. But this here's my loquat. It did get a little bit dry the other day, so that's why the leaves are looking bad. It does have fruit on it. It's looking good. All these little fruits, and they'll start ripening here in another month or so. And I did put it in when we had the cold weather. I put it in the garage. It's one of the things that took up, space in the garage. So I kind of had to make some choices. I chose to try to save the loquats instead of the peaches, because I think I'm going to have some peaches out in the in-ground garden. This here's some of my tomato starts. They're looking a little ragged, but these might be, no, they're not that dry. But once they put them in the ground, they'll start looking better. And up over here, just in case everything went south and I lost all my tomato plants, I'm planting, I think, 93 tomato plants out in the main garden. I did start these here a couple of weeks ago, and they're just two varieties. These over here, Big Beef, the others are Whoppers. And I have had them inside the whole time. This is the first time I've had them outside. I'm gonna leave them out a little bit. Sun's not hitting them, so I give them a little bit of wind or whatever, just being outside. When you harden them off, it's best to try to you start in the shade, you leave them out for about an hour, and then every day you increase it by an hour. First, 1 hour first day, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then slowly adapt them out to the sun so they won't get burnt spots on them and won't get bleached out. Such as right here, because these, they got a little hot, and they're going to do that, but it's not real bad. But if you just put them straight out from under your lights and put them straight out, they will turn all white. It'll really set them back. I don't know if it'll kill them or not, but it will really set them back. The other thing over here is green tea. And we bought this fall, so it's, don't know a whole lot about it, other than the fact that it doesn't like cold weather, and it doesn't like direct sunlight, so it's going to kind of go underneath the oak tree also. It was an impulse buy. These are some of my small citrus trees, all different varieties. This is Kiss You. It's one of those really small ones, but it's got really good flavor to it. That's a treatment thing. This is a Page Mandarin, which is a seedy, but it's supposed to taste really, really good. This one here, it's a blood orange Tarocco. I'll say it real quick and think I know what I'm talking about. And over here, New Zealand lemonade tree. Have not tried this one. I have the Jiu-Jitsu lemonade tree. It's done really well. I'm going to try to see if it's got better flavor or whatever. This here's another raised bed that I've got with carrots in it. That side looks better because I put black cow on it. This other stuff had this timberline stuff, and this stuff here is basically compost mixed in with topsoil. I mean, it's not, I know it says it's cow manure and compost, but it should be cow manure and dirt or sand. This here's garlic, the elephant garlic that's growing, and then those two are the pineapple guava, and that's strawberry guava over there. They're pretty winter hardy. They say they can get down to 15 degrees, so I've left them outside for the most part. This is one that I took in and out. This is a coyote tomato that's growing. It was just a wild variety. I mean, it was a volunteer, but I can tell by the look of the fruit that it's in the size. It's a coyote variety. This over here is my is the Okinawa spinach. Every year I'll take one or two cuttings, put them in there, their root, because we got down to 15 degrees this year, and I'm not sure what that was. We get a lot of noises like that. It could be a gun, could be something else. But anyway, but they've always come back for me. So this here's a pineapple that I got from a crown last year. It's growing really well. We'll see if it makes a pineapple this year or not. And these are different pineapples. That pineapple there and there are ones that I bought. Forgot the name of them. This here's an ornamental one, but it will produce a little bit bigger pineapple. This is another pineapple that just came from the store. You pop the tops of them off, put them in the dirt, they root out and start growing. This is another one of those. I don't like these because they've got lots of stickers on them, and they're pretty, but you can't eat pretty. Over here, I was going to bring this stuff out. This is the other tomato plants I've got, also some lettuce. These right here are dwarf tomatoes. You notice they're not near as tall as the other ones. This here, Fuzzy Wuzzy. See if I can pull one out. Yeah. And what I like about these, and I want to show you that and I have to put it back in. What I like about these trays here, if you'll look, notice how all the roots are growing down. You don't see any looping, roots circling out. And they just do a lot better like that. And this is called Fuzzy Wuzzy because it's got lots of fuzz on it. And even the tomato itself has some light fuzz on it. It's a very pretty tomato. It's very productive, and I didn't say anything about the taste. It's okay, but it tastes more like a paste tomato than, it's not going to win any awards for taste, but it's already blooming out on that one. So, and they won't get a whole lot. This will only get about 2 to 3 foot tall and have plum size tomatoes on it. Some of these others will get, they get this, tomatoes this big around. Your dwarf tomatoes get about half the size of a regular tomato, and they will produce, about the same size fruit, but you can put them in a 5-gallon bucket and they'll survive a 5-gallon bucket. Where if you put this in a 5-gallon bucket, it's going to really struggle. It's going to run out of water. It's just hard to get these to do well in the 5-gallon bucket. Over here, got seedling loquat. That's an herb. This is my sweet leaf, and it's just sitting there right now. I've got confidence it's coming back from you know, when it warms up. But it does take a while for this thing to warm up. Last year I thought it wasn't going to warm up. It just had weeds in it, and then all of a sudden I noticed it was throwing up some sprouts, and did fine. This here, of course, is the, what's that stuff called? Rosemary. I always think about rosemary's baby. I don't know why. But this is a blood orange here. These are 3 different varieties of rosemary, because I guess we needed 3 different varieties. This here, and I need to cut this back. That was my lemongrass, and you cut all that. You start to try to throw out some sprigs and stuff on it. So if I cut it back, it'll allow it to come out. Over here, this is the cherry of the Rio Grande, and if you look right over there, that big bush right there, that's it. That bush has stayed through everything. It's went through all the freezes, and it survived. Hadn't done a whole lot the last couple of years, but it has survived. So, and this here, it's a Victoria Red. It is a grape, a table grape that's supposed to do well down here. It doesn't get, it's got good resistance to Pierce's disease, which kills most of our grapes except for their muscadine grapes. You know, your regular grapes, European grapes will die from Pierce's disease after 4 or 5 years. This is supposed to be immune to it. That's showing it's probably got some nutrient deficiencies. I haven't planted it in the ground yet. Now if we walk back up over here, I have some of these inside. I have this is another loquat tree, and I think it's doing really well too. I had it in the ground. It wasn't doing very good, so I dug it up, put it in a pot. So it doesn't make as much as the other one does. The other one's Yahula, and this one, Champagne, I think. This is the, we need to move that back a little bit. This pomelo, and it's putting on a bunch of blooms, and start throwing some growth too. So that's good to know. And it's pretty sensitive to cold weather. That's why I got it in the pot. This here is a longan tree, which looks a lot like your lychee tree, which is growing up over here. Okay, it blew over that, didn't it? So hopefully they'll start blooming here in a while. This is another one of the peach trees, or nectarine tree. And I don't know. If it throws on some late blooms, maybe they made it. Like that one up there. It may have 2 or 3 that might survive, but we'll just have to find out. It is a low chill, so they bloom early, and that's some of the problem you have. These are 2 other mandarins. This mandarin tastes much better than that mandarin. That's a pumpkin, and that's clementine. I'm trying some of the thornless blackberries in buckets, 5-gallon buckets. I do need to get to where they won't be blowing over all the time. This is either pumpkin or Primark Freedom. I think those are 2 of the best for this. I really like the taste of the pumpkin better. The Primark Freedom is more vigorous, for whatever that's worth. And over here is a Myers lemon, and it is blooming its head off. I always want to redo this one and redo the pot, because the potting mix is lousy in it, but it does this, and I hate to disturb it and mess it up. So I did plant a couple. I got through, and it just got a deal in it. This here is 2 raspberries called Dorman Red, and this one's got a little sprout. So again, I'm going to try a lot of different ones. You probably shouldn't try raspberries. I tell people not to try raspberries, but I'm going to try it. And then another loquat seedling. These were seeded last year. That's how big they got. I've got to clean all this stuff out here and plant some more lettuce. This here is one of the rabbit eye blueberries, and just got to, the secret to blueberries, you got to keep that pH low, fertilize it properly. Another one over here. Got 2 for cross-pollination. We've got 2 different kinds of mint here. And I forgot which ones they are. This here is the Okinawa spinach that I have growing in the deal. So notice it doesn't do anything right now. But I do think it's come back last, I think 4 years, 3 years, I know. So this here, now I got better cheat sheets. Sangrelini blood orange. That there is oregano. Oregano will take over. I just had it right here on this side and it took over the whole thing. So oregano is pretty aggressive. And then let's go through. This is Sharonina, or that's the Sumo mandarin that you see that they cost like $4 a pound. And I've heard they're tricky to grow, but I don't know why they say that. So is it means tricky to grow because the fruit spoils easy, or do they not bloom, or do they spoil easy? You know, so growing a lot of growth on it though. It looks good. This one here is another Kishu. You know, I had that small Kishu. This is a bigger one. I really like Kishu. It does well in a container. It's not that super vigorous one, but this is showing a lot of vigor. And it will produce a smaller fruit, and they taste really sweet, and no seeds. So that's great. And this one here is another one of those. Basically, Sumo is a trade name of them. And then this in here is the N33 navel orange. I think mine out there might have died. I had one in the ground. It does not like the cold weather at all. It's very sensitive to that. This is my Jiu-Jitsu lemonade tree I have growing in a pot, and it's been aggressive in the pot as well as out in the ground. You know, this is my Valencia orange. And it's throwing out a lot of blooms too. Now they're not going to set all. They'll lose 90% of these blooms. So, and this is another. I think this is the Primark Freedom Blackberry here. This here is another one of the lychee trees. And I let it get a little too dry, so that's why you see the leaves die on it like that. And yeah, still got some. I always pick up on them. That tells you how much water's in them. If they're really light, you need to water them. You know, like right now. And this one is already starting to throw up. That's the little blooms. So maybe they're going to bloom at the same time. I want some cross pollination because I'm not getting I think they need I think they need a pollinator. A lot of people say they don't, but that over there would bloom really good and wouldn't hardly set any fruit. So this is another pomelo growing here. Now this is a trilite plum. It's not a plum cod. It's the anyway. It's a cross between an apricot and a plum and a peach. That's why I call it trilite. It's got a higher chill hours, which will mean it needs more hours before it starts blooming. So this thing's not even bloomed yet. It's just starting to bloom. So if it sets fruit like it should, now it did not set fruit last year and it should have. We'll find out this year. If it don't set fruit this year, I might give it to somebody. I don't know. I get tired of fruit that, you know, in the years it should make and they don't do anything, and it never has made a big crop. I've only got half a dozen fruit off of it. Now if it gets brown rot, or if it gets something else, or you know it gets late freeze like those tropic snow, we just got late freeze. That's the danger you have on them. They're really low chill hours and they can bloom early. This one here is just now blooming. It's a Roddenberry peach. So it's just now blooming. Those blooms should be fine. They should set. The cold weather didn't holler it because it has the higher chill hours. Now, you might think, well, why don't you just get peach trees that have high chill hours? Well, if we have a real mild winter time, these won't set any fruit and those others will. So, or that one there will. This is another one that's got real low chill hours, and I'm just looking at these along with y'all, and I'm not seeing any fruit on them. And I don't expect any because they were fully bloomed out and even had some leaves on them. So, you know, that's what you get. Same thing with this. Here's another loquat tree, and you know, all of its fruits froze because it got down to 15 degrees, and well, it's got one fruit. Yay, right there. So every once in a while they'll leave one. So, and what probably happened, that bloomed later after the freeze. So it did have one. It did make last year. We had some cold weather too, so I think it blooms a little bit later, so sometimes you might get some. It's not looking real healthy, and that kind of concerns me. I'm hoping they're not getting, it will also get fire blight like the other, like a pear tree will. This is another low chill. And like I say, these were, I had an intention of bringing all these in, but then I ran out of room. So what I'm going to do is next year I'm going to pare down what I need. See one? Okay, yeah, we got one. The squirrels don't get it. This loquat tree that died of fire blight, and it was gold nugget. I'm dabbling off into roses this year. I meant to get more than what I've got, but I've got these two. So far they're doing okay. It's just a little bit rough. I think that's probably freeze damage. But yeah, we'll see what they do. These are some of the fig. I got a feeling a lot of these figs aren't going to make it for whatever reason. And this one's looking fine. Yeah, it's coming out. This is Papa John's. It's a really good fig. My son that really likes them really liked it. This here is Salem Dark. It looked like it made it just fine. But you know, some of these may not. We'll just have to see. A lot of these are looking okay. This one looks okay. This one don't. This one I don't know. No, this one's made it because it's already blooming, leaving out. But I haven't taken real good care of them, and I really plan on moving these outside. Moving those in ground so they don't take as much time, because these are a pain in the butt, ain't they, son? To water. There's just a lot of them, and they do tend to take over, and then you start getting problems. I think the same problem I'm having here. They just get root bound and diseased up. Over here we got our blueberries, and this is a problem we have sometimes when the wind blows. These will blow over. You'll also see lots of roots, and these roots are not blueberry roots, they're the oak tree roots. So anything that touches these things, if I'd have had a hose drill in the bottom of this, all those roots would be inside here. Put your roots on the sides. Plus, I'm gonna put some water on that to see how, that's how you tell that it's really dry. You also tell because it blew over. The more weight it has, the less it blew over. That one is Sweet Crisp. This one's here, Sweet Crisp. They're still blooming out, so they should do just fine. They bloomed out early, but they still have some more blooms left. This here's Snow Chaser. This here's O'Neill. And O'Neill's funny because it'll bloom out and have no leaves on it whatsoever. It'll put fruit on it with no leaves whatsoever, but it'll finally put on leaves. This one over here is Pink Lemonade. And then I'm trying pomegranates with this tree here, growing them in a container. They bloom later, and we'll see how they do. I'm hearing all kinds of stuff about those. And it's not really good. Now I've started reading up on them, saying they also get a lot of fungus and stuff on them. So, but we'll see. They're more of a desert plant, so I've got some out in the orchard, and I put this in the pot just to see if it does better than the pots. Because once you go in the orchard, they're kind of on their own. They don't get watered or anything like that. And this is my last one. This is a get the name of it, flat something. Texas A&M put it out a couple years ago, or a few years ago. It makes a round peach, one of those saucer type peaches. And like I say, it had later bloom time, so everything should be fine. And they can take a frost. They can even take some freezing temperatures. They just can't take it when it's down. We got down pretty low, down in the, I think, low 20s one night after they started blooming. So, you know, that's part of gardening. And I'm going to sound like a preacher. Now, the second time I'm going to finish, this is the other lemongrass we had. I like these containers for growing. You can get them at the lumber yard. They're basically mud buckets because, you know, it's pretty deep and you can grow a lot of stuff in them. Peppers, lettuce, beans, lemongrass, and they got enough soil in them that you keep stuff alive, and they're spread out. The problem I have with a 5-gallon bucket, go up over here because just in case somebody knows what a 5-gallon bucket looks like. But the problem you have with this is all the area you got to grow in. You got plenty of depth, but that's all you got to grow in. So it's okay if you're just going to try to grow a pepper, but if you're trying to grow lettuce, it's a very small area, and you got a lot of money in your potting mix. Over here, for just about the same amount, maybe twice as much as potting mix, look how much more room you got to grow things in. You don't need that really deep moisture, unless it does help with peppers, because peppers take a lot of moisture. If you got dwarf tomatoes, well, you might want to go with this instead of that. But for a single plant, this works okay. What you don't want to see it happen is if you're growing something like carrots or beans or something that you can put a lot of, this just gives you more square footage of space. But anyway, that's the video for today. Thanks for staying to the end, and I'm going to try to keep you updated, look at all the stuff, see how things go. I will show you both the good stuff and the bad stuff, like the figs. They're not looking too good. I do got some figs out there I planted, they look better. I took the best figs from over here and planted them out in the garden. And I try to keep things real. I don't want you to look at me, look at, some of those channels that say, hey, look how this, we're doing everything great. We do everything great, everything looks wonderful, everything looks, fabulous. Guys, it's gardening. We have successes and we have failures every year. So just remember that. Main thing right now is for Southeast Texas, zone 9A, it's planting time for most stuff. I talked to a lady today. She was talking, well, is it time for me to start seeding my tomato plants? I said, it's past time. And I did offer to give her some tomato plants. So I said, contact me, some of those big beef and whoppers. I'm just going to give those away. I'm not going to need them unless I get a freeze in the next week or two. I'm not supposed to. But so many people make that mistake. And she said, well, when should I start my beans? I said, you can plant the beans now. Get you that little seeding chart, seed toward the early part of it, because always remember this. If you freeze out, you can replant. But if you plant too late, by the time you realize you planted too late, your crop is dead and it's in July. In Texas, you've got to get the harvest in by July 1st for most crops, or they're not going to make. So even in Dallas, if it's me, I'd be planting my tomatoes now. I can always cover them up if I have to. But just getting that extra month in means you get a month longer of harvest. So if you got, let's say you're going to try to grow all your tomatoes in June. Well, why not plant a month earlier and make tomatoes in May and June? You've doubled your harvest. Now you may freeze out, so you're going to have a backup plan. But if you can, plant as early as you can for those. Do not plant early for peppers. Don't plant early for okra. Do not plant early on peppers, okra, sweet potatoes. Those need to be planted later because they like the heat, but most stuff doesn't. Anyway, I'll end with that. See you next time.